Hi everyone, and welcome back to another Fresh Look Friday. I'm Miss Lora from the Lakeville District Library. Today I have a whole bunch of middle grade fiction stories to share with you. So what all of these books have in common is they are retellings. They are retellings of classic fairy tales or mythology or just classic literature. A lot of fractured fairy tales, sometimes these are called, sometimes twisted fairy tales. And what I really like about reading retellings is that you can pick up bits and pieces of the original story in these retellings. And to me, that makes me curious and motivated to go back and look at that original story and kind of compare and contrast to see what is so different and unique about this retelling. So we have a wide variety here today, and I'm just gonna jump right in and get started. The first one, classic. It is called A Tale Dark and Grim. So this is a take on Grimm fairy tales, specifically Hansel and Gretel. This is the first book in a trilogy. It is an older book, so some of you may be familiar with it. It is very good. There's lots of adventure. It's dark. It's twisty. There's definitely action. And so like I said, it's basically Hansel and Gretel, and it's the true story of Hansel and Gretel. So you really figure out why there's breadcrumbs, this house made of candy, all of this stuff, according to the author, Adam Gidwitz. And in addition to Hansel and Gretel, there are 8 other Grimm fairy tales interwoven into this story. So this is definitely a cool one to read and try and sparse out which fairy tales that Gidwitz is talking about and how they are involved in Hansel and Gretel. Like I said, dark and twisty. If you like horror, if you like thriller books, definitely pick up A Tale Dark and Grim. Then we have Breadcrumbs by Anne Ursu. I love this book so much. We did it in Novel Thoughts a few years ago, and the kids really liked it in my book club. This is a retelling of the Hans Christian Andersen story, The Snow Queen. So this is about Hazel and Jack. They are best friends. They have been best friends their whole lives. They love everything the same. They have so many similar interests. They're big fantasy nerds. They love Harry Potter. They love all that stuff. Well, they are now 11 years old, and it's kind of weird for a boy and a girl to be friends at their school. And they're kind of feeling that awkwardness a little bit, but they're still best friends. But then one day, Jack just stops talking to Hazel, completely starts ignoring her, cuts her out of his life, and Hazel is devastated. She does not understand what's going on. After some investigation, she finds out that Jack's heart has been frozen. Something fell from the sky into his eye and infected his heart, and it's now frozen and growing and growing. It's going to destroy him. So she has to figure out how to save Jack. So there's lots of magic in this book. Like I said, it's a retelling of the Snow Queen. So there's maybe a villain that is not nice. I really liked it because it's based in reality. It doesn't feel too far-fetched. Like all of these things maybe could happen. Breadcrumbs. And then, completely different, I have a graphic novel. Snow White. So obviously this is a retelling of Snow White as a graphic novel. And you're probably thinking, how is that different? That's like not that much of a retelling, except this is a retelling of Snow White based in the 1920s. So what's so cool about this is just the style of the art, right? So it's very 1920s. It's all black and white. Let me find a really good picture for you here. Except for maybe apples. You know those play a very important part in Snow White. So this is kind of like a look into history and how the 1920s were so different from the original telling of Snow White. So if you like graphic novels, if you like history, if you like classic literature, I would pick up Snow White, the graphic novel. It's a very quick read. You'll go through it like that. Then, switching gears from retellings just a bit, we have The Storm Runner. So this is a mythology retelling. It's all about Mayan myths. If you are a fan of Percy Jackson, I would pick up Stormrunner. As you can see up here, this says Rick Riordan Presents. So Rick Riordan, author of Percy Jackson, has a publishing branch that does all of these different mythology retellings. This one is about Mayan mythology. It is the first in a series. So if you like series books, this is one for you. So, like I said, it's a Percy Jackson read-alike. There's lots of adventure. There's lots of action. Our main character is Zane. In his backyard, there is a sleeping or dormant volcano. He plays in it all the time. He loves it. Well, one night, a plane crashes into this sleeping volcano, and things start going awry from there. There was a girl in this plane, and she starts following Zane around and coming over to his house, and she reveals that this volcano is not just a volcano. It is a prison for ancient Mayan gods, and it is awoken. So there is tons of adventure and twists and turns, and Zane did not plan on this in his life. A very fast read. This is another one we did in Novel Thoughts, my book club, and the kids loved it. So definitely recommended by other kids as well as me. Check out the Stormrunner. And then our last one is a newer one. It is called Ravenous Things. This was a scary book. If you like horror, if you like R.L. Stine and Goosebumps, if you like being creeped out, Ravenous Things. This is a retelling of the Pied Piper tale. That's one that you might not know and you might want to look into and get familiar with it. If not, reading this book, you would still understand it. And they do talk about the Pied Piper a little bit. So our main character, Reggie, has lost his dad. His dad has died, and he's very sad, obviously, and he's struggling through life, and he meets this man, this conductor, who tells him that he will get his greatest wish at midnight the next night if he goes to this train station. So he gets on this train with these other kids that this conductor has also gathered. And they go underground. The walls turn to dirt, and they're twisting and they're turning, and they don't know where they're going. And things take a weird turn. I'll say there's robots, there's cockroaches, there's blue beetles, there's rats galore. Things take an even creepier turn when the rats turn into children. So now we have rat kids running around that have replaced all the kids that are on this train. And then things just get crazier from there. It is cliffhanger after cliffhanger. There's so much adventure, so much guessing and twists and turns. And like I said, scary. If you like that kind of book, check out Ravenous Things. And that's all I have for you today. We have tons more retellings, so if that's what you like, retellings of classic fairy tales like A Tale Dark and Grimm, or even the mythology stuff like Stormrunner, we have so many of those things here at the library. So you can come on in, let us know, and we'll help you find all of those things. We have all of these available for checkout if you want to come and grab those, and all of these are available in our digital platforms as well. See you next time.